I'm Thomas from Happy Thinking People, and today I'm going to present you a case study we did with Roche Pharma, and it was an ideation project to come up with new digital ideas for the communication, for the better communication with their ultimate clients, the physicians. And we did it together with, or at least, I was supposed to stand here with Johanna Glaser, with our client at that time, but she couldn't make it, for personal and professional reasons. But she was able to produce a little video message. She did by herself at home. And we don't have subtitles, so listen carefully, and I hope you understand everything well.
Hi everyone. My name is Johanna Glaser, and as Thomas just mentioned, unfortunately I can't be with you today. Nevertheless, I wanted to say a few words to give you some business background on the project that Thomas is going to present to you. I currently work as a market research manager for Roche Pharmaceuticals, but at the time when we did the project I was working as a so-called digital innovation manager. So, since not all of you may be familiar with the pharmaceutical industry, let me quickly give you an introduction of how it is to work as a digital innovator in this industry. One of the sentences you will most frequently hear when you try to come up with new ideas and projects in the pharmaceutical industry is, "We can't do this." You will hear it, of course, from your legal department, but you will also hear it from colleagues, most notably your sales reps, and you will also hear it from your customers. So, even though the pharmaceutical industry is not the most innovative environment, everyone is still very aware of the fact that changes need to be made. We have hundreds of sales reps driving throughout the entire country trying to visit physicians. Those physicians, on the other hand, are generally overworked and hardly have enough time for their patients, let alone to talk to a pharma rep, even though if this pharma rep might bring extremely valuable information, like the latest scientific data, for example. So, how do we go about transforming the way we communicate in an environment where, let's face it, a fax machine is still frequently used? To help us identify digital solutions that would make the information exchange between Roche and its physicians' customers more effective and useful, we created a project, the so-called Digital Innovation Think Tank. The overall goal was to identify key communication needs between Roche and its physicians, and based on this understanding, develop new and innovative approaches about how things could work in the future. So, now back to Thomas for more details on how we achieved this.
Thanks, Johanna, for this little idea of the background and objectives of the study. Yeah, and this is how we dealt with it. We chose a multi-modular approach, and because we had the idea, especially when you think of all the different needs and getting an idea about the different needs from physicians, from the sales reps, and then inventing new ideas, we couldn't do it in one step. So our idea was to come up with a multi-modular project approach. At the first step, we wanted to get more in-depth into the needs and into the worlds of our targets. And so what we did is we took studies from Roche that were already stored there, took a look, and get a better idea for their needs. Then we came to the actual ideation part, which was two-phased. In the one step, we had groups with the different targets brought together to work on new ideas, digital ideas for Roche. And then we had a third step where we took the ideas already invented there and brought them, or tried to bring them, to another level to fine-tune them. And for this, we used our so-called tool panorama groups, which may already give you an idea that it's here again about a 360-degree look all around, and that you take different perspectives into account. I will explain the method a little bit later on. And at the fourth step, we had an online study with qualitative and quantitative elements to check then the most relevant idea and how it was perceived among new physicians that we did not include in the previous steps. A short excursus of our panorama group methodology. Usually, the big difference to normal focus groups is they are much bigger. You can have 16, 20, 25 people in the room. Usually, we place them at several tables, and this is one of the benefits. You can have different sub-targets, users, non-users, younger, older. You can also have experts, consumers. You can have different experts. So there is a wide range of possibilities how to mix and match different targets. And another great thing is that you can seat them in homogeneous groups, in little teams, as we did it here, and then later on, you have also the chance to switch. For example, also the clients can participate here. So that maybe the client, it could also be a consumer, is a kind of table or task ambassador staying at the table, whereas the others turn around. So we get a very good read on the different targets or the different subgroups and their needs. But we can also, because later on the clients often don't want 4 solutions, they want 1 solution, fitting all the different subgroups. And this is happening here, that when you mix them, that it really, in the end, makes them work together, and they come up with 1 solution. This is really helpful. Not least, it's very lively, it's very interactive, it's fun for everybody, and, well, it's cost and time efficient. Remember that 1 group lasting, 4 to 6 hours, depending on the task, is still cheaper than doing 4 focus groups, one after the other, after several days. And in our case, our subgroups were not 4, they were 3. And as mentioned, I mean, our people were a little bit older, but here we had, of course, the physicians with their needs. Constant time pressure, no time to get visits from the sales reps. Of course, the pharma reps. They were important to bring up their frustrations and also their needs when it comes to new solutions, how to better communicate with the physicians. Very often cancellations happen, very short-term, and they really get easily frustrated. But our task was to come up with new ideas. And maybe these 2 are not the best to come up with a new idea. So we needed support by specialists, by experts, and in this case, we called them digital experts. They were, for example, startup founders, IT consultants from Berlin, and that was really funny. I mean, they didn't look like Zorro, and they may have not been hackers in their former lives, but they looked quite different, especially when you compared them to the sales reps and also to the physicians. The physicians were oncologists and hematologists, so this was the main target here, important for Roche. And so we had very different personalities and very different target groups, and we had to work with them. In fact, in our panorama groups, we had an equal allocation. We had 6, 6, and 6 of each subgroup. So, our main challenge from what we learned from the previous steps, we already knew from the client and also from the data that the environment, especially in hospitals, is not very digitally open and experienced. And we also knew from the first part, second step, that within our panorama groups, also the physicians and also some of the sales reps, well, were not the most creative guys and not the most inventive, especially when it's a topic that is not their own, when it's about digital solutions. So they were digitally unaware, strongly fact-driven, and remember, they were German physicians. And so our idea was, we depicted them as a hermit crab, reminds me a little bit of Dr. Zoidberg at Pharma, that, how to bring them out of their shell. And that was the main target, because for our third step, we wanted to fine-tune the ideas. We wanted to bring them to another level. We wanted to bring them or make them better, of course, and we needed the help of the physicians. We still needed the support of the sales reps. So how did we do that? Because that was the big challenge here. We had our 3 very different subgroups with very different personalities, with different kinds of knowledge and needs, especially different kinds of knowledge when it came to digital solutions. And they partly knew each other from step 2. We chose some of the experts for step 2 and step 3, and so they already knew some of the ideas. In parts, they knew each other. And we need to respect the differences, but this is what we also did in step 2. But the most important thing here was to keep the energy level high. We couldn't just do again what we did in step 2. That would have worked, but it would have also been boring. And the people re-invited again, saying, no, we know the flow and everything, we know the ideas, so what's new? We had to give them a little surprise. And at first, we hand-selected our participants for step 3. So we chose the most lively, the most engaged, the most positive, optimistic persons here for our fine-tuning. We needed to come up with something new, with new exercises, with new techniques, and something that they haven't seen before. A surprise, as I mentioned. And of course, not any surprise. It needed to be something that was also tailor-made for our purposes, to bring the idea a step forward and not just entertaining them. And our main technique for step 3 of our project was role play. And that was really helpful because, on the one hand, playing another person, being another persona, brings the opportunity to say what otherwise couldn't be said. Think of socially accepted answers in focus groups or in any kind of qualitative environment. And this also was the case here, especially here with experts. Physicians, they don't want to lose their face. So role play was one means, or was the main mean here, to create a greater openness, also when it came to the reactions to the ideas and to criticism and to spontaneous responses. It also broke down hierarchies. When you think of a hospital, chief physicians, the ward physicians, and everything in between. And we had hospital physicians, we had also physicians with their own practice, and they all have the hierarchies within the hospital. They know it. And I would also say that when they reach another level, they may also change in terms a little bit of behavior, of personality, so hierarchies are there. And they are an inhibition for our task. And not least, also the ideas. Remember, the IT specialists, they have their own language that is not easy to understand for laymen. So here we also forced our IT specialists to use a language via role play that is understandable for the digital unaware audience. And this is the kind of setup we had in our room. So we had a little stage, and we had 3 ideas in step 3 that we wanted to fine-tune. And we allocated 1 idea to a pair of digital experts. So they presented the idea. They were given some time. They had time to make some bullet points on a flip chart. They had some time to reconsider the idea, bring down the main arguments, and then present it to the audience. And this was the audience, a kind of jury, a kind of examining committee, and comprising the doctors, the physicians, and the sales reps. And we also included the role play here that, for example, the doctors had to switch roles, especially hierarchy roles, that the juniors played seniors and the other way around. Or that somebody from a hospital environment was playing somebody with their own praxis and the other way around. And also for sales reps, there are different kinds of, well, personalities. The one being able to sell anything, the one that is more the nerdy type, the other one that is more the backslapping optimist. And of course, they are stereotypes. But this is what it was all about, that knowing stereotypes, knowing the behavior of the others, enabled it that they could live the role, that they could speak within the role, and that made it really work. And not least, they didn't only had to adapt a different role, we forced them to dress up. I mean, we also had to dress up. And I think I remember I had a little bunny tail. And it was really funny, and that we gave them all the kinds of material they needed. Scarves, glasses, hats, wigs, whatever we found. And it was not about the accuracy of, now I look, like in German Carnival, like now I look like a chief physician. It was not about that. It was about just dressing up, taking some time to go into another role. That was the interesting thing, and that really worked. These are some sketches because due to confidential reasons in the pharma industry, it's not possible to make pictures or photos. So here we had a drawing artist with us making some sketches, and you see that, for example, the IT specialists presenting the idea or being the idea, they made some metal heads, for example, out of aluminum foil. And the interesting thing here is, and this is what I also mentioned before, is that they knew the roles of the others, that they were able to adopt them, that they knew the stereotypes, and they really reacted in a different way. More spontaneous, more provocative when it came to judging and criticizing the idea. And there was a different chemistry, a different atmosphere there. And very interesting, it ran by its own. We didn't have to do much. We as moderators, once the flow was going and they knew what they had to do, and then it became a kind of self-running mechanism that was really, really interesting. And for example, that all the new junior physicians know the behavior and the, well, arrogance of the chief physicians. And, that's saying, oh, this is a nice idea, but, I don't have the time, and usually the ward secretary deals with it. This is not my task. This is one of the examples. And, well, a chief physician may have also said this, but it came much more forced with more provocative force. So, summing up the benefits of our role play, it really brought the engagement to another level. And as I said, yes, they were almost self-running, and we didn't have to do that much as moderators. They really knew what to do quite instinctively. We get more spontaneous, provocative responses that really helped to bring the ideas to another level. I mean, really, we did got a bigger bunny out of the hat. And not least, everybody had fun in the room. It was a very lively atmosphere. When I just think of the dressing up and taking up the different accessories for the role play, that was really fun. A very short excursus for our panorama groups, what we can do with it. On the one hand, it's often usage and attitude. Remember, different subgroups, different sub-targets, so we get an easy read when we have them in homogeneous groups to get an idea about the different needs, the different usage behaviors, whatever is in focus. Co-creation and ideation, yes, that was our topic here, and evaluation of existing ideas by clients. And of course, we can mix it. Remember, they're quite long, 4 to 6 hours, so we can start with the Q&A session and turning it then into an ideation session, or later on showing ideas that are already there from the client to be evaluated. So, and now back to Johanna, and she will give us a short idea of the business implications of the output of our project.
So, thanks, Thomas. As you can see, wearing a costume is not only great fun, it also helps you achieve better results. So, what have we done with those results so far? First of all, it was important for us that we could spread the insights and ideas from the Digital Innovation Think Tank throughout the organization. So we did a workshop with all of the brand managers from Roche Germany, and we invited 3 of the digital experts who had participated in the Digital Innovation Think Tank. And those experts presented the draft ideas that we had to the brand managers. That was really helpful because the brand managers could then directly discuss with the experts about those ideas. Like, for example, Medicora or MedMeet. I can just give you a first impression and can sadly not show more, but just to let you know how they look like. So after the workshop, we decided to continue working with just one idea because we wanted to avoid trying to do everything at once and then actually ending up with nothing. So from one idea, we actually developed a prototype, and this prototype was then presented in an online discussion to physicians who had not previously participated in the Digital Innovation Think Tank. So we got fresh customer feedback for our prototype, and that helped us develop the idea to the next level. Sadly, I cannot give you further details on the idea we continue to work on. Just let me say that we decided on the one that has the greatest potential to improve the way how sales reps and physicians work together. And if we ever get it approved, when we get it approved by our legal department and our upper management, it will dramatically change the way how sales reps visits are organized. Overall, I would say the project really did help Roche in finding new creative, fun ways to work together with our customers and in successfully co-creating services that both sides could benefit from. And of course, the whole market research project was much more enjoyable for everyone. So with that, back to Thomas for some final conclusions, and enjoy the rest of the conference, everyone.
Thank you very much, Johanna. Yeah, what was our takeout now, very shortly, of role play integrated in our panorama groups. Yeah, it was very easy, almost self-running, and that people really adopted the idea of it, and it heightened the energy level. It countered social and professional inhibitions, and it really made it easier to produce new ideas and to fine-tune them. And that was it mainly. So Carnival is over now in Germany for already 1 week, and also the presentation. Thank you very much for listening.